Chapter 1476. Zaluth is risen. A council of Kraflath was a tense, if not deadly, affair at the best of times. The Kraflath Zaluth had known throughout his life were, for the most part, petty bullies, upstarts and thugs. Stronger than the others, or bigger, they were able to gain influence using the most crude methods. When such tribe leaders met, the outcome was inevitable: fighting, death and destruction. But those had been petty leaders of minor tribes, such as his own Slee. Weak and irrelevant, their squabbles over the least desirable tunnels in the entire stratum were so insignificant, the truly powerful Krath had never even heard of them. In front of him now was a very different scene. Ulis, Mulzos, Chosts, Solus, leader of the Zist tribe, and others, mighty leaders of the deep tribes who had gathered at the call of the ancient. These leaders were as viciously cunning as they were powerful. Eyes darting atop their stalks, they saw everything, always alert for the slightest sign of weakness. Even Chost, sleek and deadly, a coiled snail snake ready to spring, looked ordinary amongst them, one among the many. Solus, huge and positively crackling with acidic might, was first among equals here, and it was he who held the central position. Our scouts have been able to determine that there are pockets of native mana erupting within the fortress, Zaluth continued his report. The vents are straining them, though perhaps not as much as we had hoped. Atop their stalks, those eyes watched him intently, and he felt their gaze like a physical weight upon his flesh. It was difficult not to reflexively enter camouflage. Which scouts were able to glean this information? Ulis burbled. Perhaps we should be speaking to them instead. I did, Zaluth replied, a sly lilt in his voice. It hadn't been easy, either. Sneaking under the platform itself using the built-up mucus clinging to sections of the underside had been one of the most dangerous things he'd ever done. But he had to, there hadn't been any other choice. If some other scout had retrieved better information, then they would be here before the tribe leaders and not him. They'd been desperate, too. Seeing opportunity, the Krath scouts had tried every sly, conniving method they could to glean intelligence or hamper their rivals. It was the kind of contest all Krath reveled in, and Zaluth had won. And were you able to get close enough to confirm the singing? Solus demanded. Yes, the singing interests me the most, said another voice. The Kraflath of the Gluzgith tribe, Thulzis, had arrived from the depths only a few hours ago, along with several hundred of her finest Krath warriors. Like Chost, she wasn't as large as some of the other leaders, but felt dense and explosive. The air of danger around her was as thick as a toxic miasma. Were you able to hear it? She asked him. Zaluth tried not to shudder at the memory. I did, he confirmed. And, describe it to me, she told him, eyes bulging red with the force of her will as it pressed down on him. Zaluth struggled for the words. How to describe it? Despite barely being able to catch the sound, it had filled him, burned him, turned his mind red and his acid to boiling. He shook his head and breathed deep, casting away the memory. It was enraging, foul and disgusting, it stirred the rage in me like nothing I've ever experienced. An abomination, Thulzis breathed. A foul stain on our home, a blight on the creation of the Maker. We must ensure that the singing will cease, no matter the cost. Therazin asked us to do it, and we will. The question is how, Ulis burbled. The mighty Kraflath thought to themselves for a moment, each pondering their own schemes and strategies. Minds with as many twists and turns as a labyrinth considered, planned and worked through their own plans, each more convoluted and diabolical than the last. If I might make a suggestion, Zaluth said ingratiatingly, I have a thought that has developed during my time observing these invaders. Once again, all eyes turned to him, swiveling atop their stalks. Whatever he had to say, it had better be good, or he would likely be devoured in moments. The invaders, these ants, they are fiercely loyal to each other, which is proven by their willingness to throw themselves into danger in order to save any we capture. The surrounding Kraflath smirked and chuckled. You think this weakness can be exploited? Solus asked. It can. The ancient asked us to turn 2 monsters. As far as I know, we haven't found one of them, but the other is here on the platform. They are fiercely protective of this creature. Every time it is in danger, they react. Ronobes. It's also powerful. Every scout agrees that this is a difficult beast to contend with, the Kraflath stated, eyes blazing red. There are ways we can approach. And if we can approach, we can make a move. If we take that ant and turn it, the others will come after us, even during a wave. You really think so? I do, Zaluth confirmed, then grinned evilly. We can bring them out of their little fortress and destroy them. Chapter 1477. The heat is on. Another monster from the 6th arrived a few hours ago, which makes it the 3rd one today. The mana level here in the 5th has probably reached its peak now, and it is deeply unpleasant. It's a constant struggle for the woofers to keep up. The blue mana is being consumed faster and faster by the more potent native energy, and they have to chew through that potent toxic stuff at ever-increasing speeds. For now, the safe zone is holding. For now, I know the vast bulk of the energy cleansed in the fortress is being siphoned off somewhere. Hopefully, whatever Solent needs it for proves worth the effort. Be careful, eldest. A powerful scent next to me calls out. I'm always careful. You're currently melting. Quote. It's not that bad. Alice throws her hands up before turning back to the oncoming onslaught and launching fire from her hands. I do indeed have acid on my back, steaming and burning, but my carapace isn't that easy to get through. It'll take more than a little acid to make me worry. No, the acid isn't the problem, it's the corrupting energy contained within that is slowly leaking into my body. Yuck, hate that stuff. After a few seconds, a huge volume of water splashes over my thorax, covering me in the deluge and washing off most of the offending acid. I turn slightly to see Bertrand reloading his water cannon. The bearded man smiles and gives me a thumbs up that I do not return. And not just because I don't have thumbs. I mean, yes, it certainly helps to get the acid off, and wash away the slop and slime that spills onto the platform. It's useful, I know that, I just don't enjoy being dunked in water all the time. Looking down at Alice, who now somewhat resembles a drowned rat, I think she understands how I feel. You were too close, I tell her helpfully. Thanks, she mutters. Thanks a lot. You could stand further back if you want. You cast magic, you don't need to be here. We're here to help you, she replies, just as stubborn as the rest of the Templars. I can be more effective here, closer to you. As they fight, the Templars have continued to gain levels, growing stronger and leveling their skills. The class has empowered them in some odd ways. They get stronger when closer to me, for example. As fighters, all of them, even the young'uns, have proven to be very capable. Jern swings his axe like it's a part of him, and the light he can produce from that thing is deadly. Alice has been working on her fire magic, and it's getting more and more impressive. She can't hold a candle to Dragon's breath or to Nvidia's explosions, but she's doing very well. Apparently, the bonuses they get from being a Templar are enough to overcome their relative lack of experience. I don't know how human classes work or anything, but it seems like Templar is a really good one. My nerves stiffen, and for a moment, I suspect something is coming, but I can't see it. Playing fire across the oncoming waves of mucus, I look for danger. Well, danger is everywhere. I look for excessive danger, but I don't find anything. Alice, are you sensing something? I ask her, a little confused. She's about to answer me when her eyes roll up in her head and she collapses to the ground. What the heck? I turn and the same has happened to Bertrand, which can only mean one thing: spiritual attack. The knave is under attack. Why? How? My nerves scream again as my antennae twitch, a slight glimpse into the future sending impulses raging through my neurons. Two massive globs of mana are launched, simultaneously from deep within the tunnel. Damn it, no way that isn't coordinated. My constructs spin up, pushing hard, straining to their bursting point as they try to rip out as much gravitational mana as they can. Condense it, pack it as tight and solid as I can until it starts to do the work itself, sucking in mana all on its own. I don't bother splitting it. I only had one bomb ready to go, and creating a second from scratch wouldn't leave me with enough time to launch it. Once the spell is ready, I open my mandibles wide and unleash the Doom Sphere. I mean, the name is growing on me. HOOOOOOOOOWWWWWLLLLLLLLLL. Empowered by the altar, the gravity bomb unleashes an air-shattering scream, like the dying wails of a god. The air is sucked in so fast it slices away sections of rock, or rips stones straight off the walls. Ra nuobs. The blobs of mucus and the gravity bomb meet halfway down the tunnel, and the bomb expands to consume them. It fills the tunnel with darkness, consuming unfathomable amounts of slime, thousands of monsters, and still wants more. This is clearly some sort of planned attack. I'm not going to muck around. They can have a massive gravity bomb to chew on. If that doesn't disrupt their plans, then nothing will. Again, my antennae twitch and my nerves burn with fire. I lunge to the left, just in time. Something wet and sticky slaps into my carapace a split second before it would have hit Alice. I stand over her, as several more projectiles blast out from the wall to smack into my darkly gleaming exoskeleton. I can feel them oozing and creeping over me already. I can see the lines that extend out into the darkness, connected to their invisible handlers out on the wall. The Krath have come. For me, I clack my mandibles, amused. You think you can take me? Let's see how that goes.